Have a senior in your life who's a little befuddled by technology? This tablet could change their life. Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and I want to talk about senior citizens and technology. Now, there are definitely people that are in their 80s and 90s that are really razor sharp and fully understand all of the modern technology, but for everyone like that, someone has a grandma or a grandpa or an aunt or uncle who just seems completely befuddled by everything, and they're the absolute target for scammers. And unfortunately, the stats show that senior citizens are the most targeted and the most likely to be tricked. So what you want to do is you want to have a technology that solves that problem and makes the whole internet and cell phone and landline and desktop computer experience simple. And that's exactly what this does. This is the GrandPad tablet for seniors. Well, in the boxes. So I want to do an unboxing and then I'll give you a little demo of some of its features. But the idea is that it's a locked down, customized version of the internet and of technology for senior citizens. Let's check it out. So I'm going to open the box, and I have to say, it is very rare for me to see a box that's so carefully labeled to make sure you never open it upside down or anything. So we won't open it upside down. I will open it the correct way. And right off the bat, on the top, it says, "Welcome to GrandPad." And then it gives you a super simple setup guide. Literally, there are 3 steps. We will do that in a moment. And then there's a quick guide to the home page of the tablet, and then some of the many apps. And what they've done is they've basically rewritten all the apps that people use on the internet so that they're locked down, safe, and easy to use. The real fun here is when we actually pull out the tablet. And it looks like what they have is, this is an Android tablet. And it comes in a case, and the case is branded for GrandPad. So we'll put that aside because it also includes a charging station. So this, don't need that. And then more cardboard, don't need that. And so here's our charging station. And it has a 2-prong wall plug, so that's easy. What else is in here? Oh, there's a really nice looking stylus. It's kind of interesting. The stylus is light blue, but the case is red. You would think there'd be a little color coordination, but on the other hand, I suppose that makes it more visible. So this stylus can make it easy to work with the tablet. And that's everything in the box. So I'm going to, you guessed it, get rid of the box. So this comes with a charging stand, which makes it super easy so that all you have to do is just remember to put the tablet on here and it'll do all the work. So let's plug the stand in. And I haven't set this up in advance, so we'll just see how this all works. And let's see, I don't see any contacts anywhere. So it says, let's see, that's our orientation. It says just to put it on the stand. And, oh, looks like it's upside down. Let's try it this way. I'll put it on the stand, and now you can see it's an Acer tablet, and it is warming up. And it should be pre-registered. And one of the things that's really important to understand is that this tablet is controlled by an admin app. So the idea would be that, for example, I might get this for my uncle who's having a really hard time, and then I would use the app, or there's a web interface, but mostly you want to use the app, and I'll just go ahead and bring that up. And then in the app, I have access to be able to chat with them or do a video conference call, but I can also set up and whitelist, as they say, email addresses and phone numbers and all of that sort of thing. I've preloaded some photos so that this is a little bit more fun. And it says, "Welcome to GrandPad, Dave Demo." That's me, Dave Demo. So begin learning. And as you can see, let me just tilt it a little bit, it is really straightforward and simple. It's big text. And so let me just pause for a moment and I'll bring the camera to be a lot closer to the screen so you can see what's going on. Before we get there though, let me tell you a little bit more about the technology here. So it has built-in 4G LTE cellular. So it's not a 5G device, but it is always online. You don't have to be on a Wi-Fi network. You don't have to know any passwords. So you can give this to a senior and they can go to the coffee shop, they can go to the park, they can go out for lunch with their friends, and while they're waiting for them, they can pull this out and use it as long as they have cellular signal. So super easy. Now, let me spin things around and let's see what's on the screen. So here's the first of the intro screens, and you can see it's all very cheery and easy to work with, and the arrow gets us to the next screen. And what it's giving us is it's giving us a sort of introduction to the core features of the product. And you can actually set it up to go to sleep. And notice when I put it on the cradle, I didn't have to plug in any wires or anything, which was really great. And they do have live customer service 24/7, 365. So one of the things you're paying for with this is the ability for the user to be able to tap help and actually get a live chat going. So looks like we've gone through the tutorial. And so tap to begin. And here we are. So this is the basic home screen. And the apps that are shown here are ones that have been approved in the actual admin app. So there's email, photos. Let's go to photos, all photos. And I can look at, these are all the photos they've preloaded. We can browse by date. Let's see. Well, we can go back to photo albums. When we're done, well, actually, I guess we do a slideshow. And then we can quit. And you can see it's pretty darn easy to work with. I'm not sure why the photos that I've uploaded haven't shown up yet, but I'm guessing that there's a synchronization element here. Email. And again, one of the nice things here is that you can only get email from addresses that have been approved by the admin. So all of those scammers who are waiting to jump in and harass your older friends, they literally can't get through, so it won't even show up. So we'll quit email. And moods is interesting. So this is something where if they're feeling maybe stressed out or something, you can get into what I would describe as sort of like a environmental screensaver. And you can hear there's an audio component. And we can, let's see what else we can do. We can make it a little quieter. And notice how all the controls are consistent and they're big buttons and they're easy to work with. There's not like hidden things. So that was spring. Let's try, apparently Japanese people have different spring. Ah, it's the music. That's very pleasant. I don't know that I'd want that on for hours on end, but still, pretty cool. So we'll quit the nature app, quit moods, and then if we go to camera, then you can take photos, it's sort of a selfie thing, or you can record videos. So you might record a video saying, thanks for sending me the GrandPad. And now I sound like an advertisement. There's articles that you can read. The cat of the day, that sounds up my alley. Oh, it's not yet loaded. So again, this device is still spinning up and loading things in the background. The weather app should figure out where I am. Let's see. See, right now it's trying to use the cellular connection, and that's tricky because I'm actually in my basement. But one of the interesting things is that it actually tracks who your friends are, and these are some preloaded ones, and where they are. So as I'm going through weather, I can see, oh, Harry Potter, he's in Edinburgh, and in Edinburgh, it's 67 degrees, so that's pretty nice. So we'll quit weather, and radio's nice. Again, there's a lot of like audio components and video components to this, so I might go to BBC World Service, and
where can I gamble into a good area? Another good opportunity for Arsenal.
Sounds like it's a soccer match, which I could definitely check out, but I'm not going to. And then music is a streaming audio service, so it's very nice. All of this is right here. And let's see, let's do 1970s music. And make it quieter again. And all of it, very consistent button design. I can pause it. We'll quit that genre so I could pick something different. I can quit music. And then one of the big things is games. So there's games you can play against the computer, but there's also multiplayer games. And the company GrandPad actually has, I don't know if it's weekly or monthly, but they'll have like online bridge tournaments and stuff. So it's a nice way for you to potentially make some e-buddies. And so we can go into classic games and tic-tac-toe. We'll do one player, and I'll do X. Oh, X. X. So, look at that. Beaten by the computer. And not only am I beaten by the computer, but you got to watch it. So, the heck with like tic-tac-toe. All right, let's go back. Quick games. And there's still a bit more. So, you can do a video call. If we go into Toolbox, I can actually bring it up onto my local Wi-Fi, which would be beneficial. But I also just want to show you the internet, because this is the web browser, but it's important. I'm going to go through this really fast. There's lots of risks, yes. So I've been able to go through and actually customize these bookmarks. And it's not yet reflected because I removed a couple and added a couple of different ones that aren't showing here. But again, over the next probably 30 to 60 minutes, all of this will synchronize with what I've set up on the admin app. And then you can just tap on one, and now you're on that website. And this means you can't be spoofed. It means you can't get an email from someone saying, click here to like sign up for a free opportunity, because not only would you not get that email, but if for some reason you did, it still wouldn't actually come up on the web browser. And so you can see here we are on the Wikipedia homepage, but the navigational elements here stay the same and they're big. And I can say, wow, that text is small. Let's make it larger. So now I can see today's featured article. I can see in the news, let's find out about Pope Leo the 14th. And again, I can just make that text larger if I want. And if there was an audio component, I have volume control right here. So there's no stressing out about, oh, it's so loud, how do I turn it down? And then when I'm done, quit website and quit internet. And then same with a calendar, you can keep track of things. I actually added some calendar entries that will eventually show up. And that's really the GrandPad. So let me jump back on screen and talk a little more about the technology and the ideas behind it. It's a pretty interesting device, actually. I wanted to show you real quick that the admin interface on the phone also gives you a lot of capabilities. So you can go and I can say in photo management, I can look at the different photos that I've uploaded. I can upload more photos, and they will eventually automatically show up on the GrandPad, making it somewhat like a digital picture frame. But I can modify contacts. You can see here's that Michael Smith. Sorry, Michael, I don't know you, and neither does Uncle Joe. So Uncle Joe has just vanished from that list of contacts on the tablet. And you can manage the internet. And this is where I can add and remove websites. So I know Uncle Joe likes to check out my site, Ask Dave Taylor, so of course I had to add that, but I also added Fox News just so you can look at different perspectives on the news, and you can enable or disable applications. Maybe there's really no point in having that camera app, so why not just hide it? So you can change it here and it will immediately either show up or vanish on the GrandPad itself. And you can see, you can add radio stations, or you can set it up. So BBC Radio 4 was the one we tried the demo with and got the soccer match. So pretty slick. And then here's some of the photos, and I can add a comment here. Isn't he adorable? And so that comment is posted to that photo, and then when Uncle Joe looks at that photo on his GrandPad, he'll see that comment and he can add his own comment. Not only can he add his own comment, he can add a voice comment, which I could then view in the app. So I think that they've got a lot right with this. So I'm going to just go ahead and put this down. We're going to go back to here. So I'm going to tap on this because I wanted to show you one more thing. So AI, right? AI everywhere, AI chat everywhere. So they have what they call the Grandie chat. And this is an AI chatbot. So let's launch it. And
good morning, Dave. It is a clear day today in Boulder. Slight drizzle is expected. Temperatures will be ranging.
I'm going to just tap on the Talk to Grandie. What's the latest news in British Premier League soccer? We'll see if it can do that. And you can actually go into the app and specify there are certain categories that it shouldn't be talking about. And let's see what it says. It says, give me a moment to think about that. All right, well,
I'm still thinking.
She's still thinking. And you can change the voice to male or female depending on what your preferences are or what the user's preferences are. Now,
here's the latest news
okay,
in British
here we go.
Premier League soccer.
Let's hear what she came up with.
United's victory. Newcastle United secured a crucial 2-0 win over 10-man Chelsea, closing the gap on Arsenal in the standings.
And I can pause and then go right back to
pressure.
it.
Arsenal currently second.
And I can also replay if I'm like, wait, say that again.
Newcastle United's victory.
So I'll pause this. So that's a really cool idea. And this example I gave, it might have been a little bit slow because there was processing on the back end. But the idea that your senior can chat with their tablet and actually interact with all the information on the internet is pretty cool. And there's so many different apps that give them these opportunities to, sort of interact with the system the way that they want. I think that's really cool. And the most important thing is that it is easy to use and it is controllable. So to some extent, it is not an unreasonable comparison to say this is sort of like a parental control app, except now you're managing your parents' experience as opposed to your parents managing your experience. I'm sure all of our children would love to manage our experiences, but in this case, it actually makes sense. And it turns out to be a really nice way to do it. And as you can see, we switch back into that digital picture frame mode, and it is using its stock photos. I imagine at some point it'll just suddenly start showing the photos I've uploaded. They do say give it about an hour sometimes to synchronize this information, but with calls, again, you can only receive calls from trusted numbers. You can dial out whatever number you want because it is at some level just a cell phone with cellular service and a really big screen. But you can't get scammers, you can't get robocalls. You do have to pick a number for this device, and that's in the admin and sign up process. But I think it's important to know that so that you realize that you don't get to give grandma the same number she had on her phone is now ringing on her tablet. It doesn't work quite that way, but that's actually pretty common with these sort of additional devices. And over time, hopefully she would just be adding contacts, or you would be adding contacts on her behalf or Uncle Joe's behalf, as the case may be. It does have built-in 911. It has live customer service agents. That's part of what you're paying for. And that AI chatbot. And here's a really nice thing. As long as you're under your subscription, that it has a hardware warranty. So if 8 months down the road, grandma calls up and she's very upset and flustered and says, I spilled my coffee on my GrandPad and it doesn't work anymore. What do I do? And the answer is just send it to them and they'll send you a replacement. No problem, and it's free. And the replacement, one presumes, would be preset to automatically just open up and be connected to your account and ready to go. That's really nice. And it's one less stressor. And again, I know a lot of seniors that get very anxious around technology. And in fact, even with how I interact with systems versus when I watch my kids, they're just like, let's just push all these buttons and see what happens. And I'm like, well, what does that button do? Oh, okay, that didn't break anything. Good. So, you can sort of amplify that. And so for this, to be so bulletproof makes it really a pleasure, and you never have to hunt for buttons or functionality. It takes the stress out of being in the digital age and makes it actually something enjoyable for someone, even if they have poor eyesight or poor hearing, or they have, control issues with their maybe Parkinson's or something. And again, you can also use this so you can just operate with the stylus instead if you're finding that it's hard for you to use your fingers to do things. So really easy to work with. And that's pretty much where I wanted to go with this. I wanted to give you the full demo and the unboxing. And needless to say, I can take it off the stand and take this with me. If I'm really, really into their, let's see, go into card games. And I just love their solitaire game. We'll do hard and so now I have solitaire, and I can use this on the bus. I can use this on an airplane ride, right? So everyone else is with their fancy switches or their tablets, and I have this, and it works just fine. And when they say turn it off, I turned it off. So that is just a really great solution for a really complicated problem. Now, I will say, there are a couple of edges. There are a couple of elements in the interface that I found needed a little bit of work, but this is a big, complex piece of software that they're trying to do here. So props to them for getting so much right. It really is an almost seamless experience. I am going to invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click or tap on that subscribe button, hit that bell icon for notifications of my new content. And if you found this of value, and I really hope you did, please give me a thumbs up. Appreciate that too. Cool. This is the GrandPad tablet for seniors. I'll open it up and we're right back into our game. It's a nice big bright screen. Pretty sure this is an Android device from Acer, but be that as it may, who cares? It's running its own operating system. And it is $95 a month. And remember, that includes a cell phone service. So it has its own number, its own cell phone connectivity. You don't need to be on Wi-Fi to use this. So it's $95 a month, or if you sign up for an annual plan, it's $780 a year, which works out to $65 a month. There is a 30-day money-back guarantee. There are no contracts. You can get this and give this to grandma, and if she tries it for a week or two and then just says, I can't do it, I just want to go back to my old tablet or my laptop or my desktop computer or my phone, then you can send it back. So 30-day guarantee. And remember, there's that hardware warranty that as long as you're subscribing, they'll cover any issues that happen with any of the hardware to make that a, one less stress in your life sort of thing. So it is a little spendy compared to the most budget tablet that you could buy online and then get cellular service for, but you're getting a whole lot of services, and it's a real complete and closed ecosystem, which also means that you don't have to worry about grandma or Uncle Joe being scammed. And nowadays, that's a serious issue. I will tell you that I know senior citizens in my life who have been scammed out of tens of thousands of dollars. And that's just what they've admitted to us. So hopefully that's all that's happened, but it might be that they've been scammed even more. So something like this protects them, and that's a huge win too. Anyway, that's what I got. Thanks for watching. This has been a kind of long video, but I wanted to show you a lot of stuff. So that's what I got. Hope to catch you in my next video.